Happy Valentine's Day, yes you. I hope you have a good one. I hope all the couples have a lovely day out there, and all the single ones, the football's on. I hope you have a good day too. Right, I'm going to kick this off with a few confessions. Confession number 1. We've got to do a video every day on this channel. We'll explain why in a different video. But if you're ever looking at it thinking, crikey Gio, that's a bit of desperate content, you're probably right. Now to kick off that desperation, confession number 2, I put out a tweet last night because I didn't know what to do today. So I put out a tweet. Some people replied, thank you if you did. I'm keeping your ideas for the future. And I sent it to Charlie and said, Charlie, pick one, will you? And he did. He picked this one from Matt. It says, would I mind hearing thoughts on formations for the remainder of the season? We've had success with the back 3-5. Injury hit now. Do we revert back to it? Who can play where, etc.? Soufal's an option in the right of a back 3 for me. So Charlie picked that one. So confession number 3, it's not really a confession, you already know. I can't edit videos, okay? I just can't edit. So what you're supposed to do when you don't know how you do something is learn. But when you're lazy like I am, you adapt. So I'm adapting today. That explains this big green thing going on. And the reason for this is because when Charlie sent it back to me, he said, do it like your opposition preview. So basically, over on the Patreon website, every match, I take a little look at what I think the opposition is going to do with their formation and who's going to play where and what I think is their strengths and weaknesses, or who I think is their strengths and weaknesses. So that's what this green thing is. So I'm going to crack on with that right now, and hopefully this works. So on the screen right now, we've got the 4-2-3-1 formation, which are what we've been playing for the majority of the season now. We switched to it early on in the season, and we've stuck with it, and it's worked really well. I guess the good thing with this formation is we've got square pegs in square holes. The players are playing where they're meant to be. Personally, I think it gets the best out of Soufal. I think when he plays wing back, I usually did at the start of the season. I thought he did okay when he first came in. I thought he did fine. He was good. But I think when he plays right back, I think he's fantastic. You can tell he's a conventional right back. He only played 2 games at wing back in his career prior to coming to West Ham United. I thought it showed. He adapted well, but as a right back, unbelievable. We know what the rest of the back 4 looks like with Dawson, Ogbonna, who's now injured, Creswell, Rice and Solchek in the middle, and then Antonio up front, which is a large part of this video. Ben Rama on the left, sometimes Fornals, but Ben Rama on the left, Lingard in the number 10 role, and then Jarrod Bowen over on the right there. So people are where they're supposed to be played. It's all good, it's ticking a lot of boxes. But we've got the issue now, haven't we? With Ogbonna's out, but the main issue is how do we play without Michail Antonio? We tried Yarmolenko up there against Manchester United, and granted the formation was a little bit different because we had Martin Noble playing in there instead. But whenever we don't have Antonio, even when I have Sebastian Haller up front, we struggled. We struggled a little bit. I thought against Man United in the second half when we went to a back 3, I thought we looked really, really good. So to answer Matt's question, do we revert back to a back 3? That's exactly what we're going to take a look at today. So let me just move my counters back here. So we've got the wing back. We're now going to 3 centre backs, dropping someone else into centre midfield, because when we have played this 3 at the back formation, it has been a bit like this actually. We've played something similar to like that. We had Fornals playing here, and I often thought Fornals off the ball was remarkably good because Jarrod Bowen would come back and help Soufal. You keep an eye on the left back kind of thing. But I often thought Fornals would leave the right back for Masuaku, and he would sort of drop in and help out Solchek and Rice. Since switching to the 4-2-3-1, I feel we've been getting recently exposed down the middle of the pitch somewhat, and I think that is down to not having Pablo Fornals on the park sometimes. And when he is, he's not necessarily playing that role because we've got a conventional left back. Creswell's having to watch the right midfielder. Fornals has got to watch the right back, or Ben Rama has to watch the right back, and therefore I guess the focus is on Jesse Lingard dropping back into centre midfield should we use him in that formation going forward. So anyway, so this is what I think, this is how I see us lining up with 3 at the back. And it's not a bad thing. It allows us to keep square pegs and square holes, but the question is what we're going to do up front. The answer, what I'd like to see without Michail Antonio, is Mr. Jarrod Bowen. Now I'm going to do a bit of confirmation bias here, and I'm going to try my best to pull up some heat maps of Jarrod Bowen. Firstly, at Hull City. Well, let me read out the stats at Hull City, because he's played as a striker before, Jarrod Bowen. The season we bought him, so 2019-20, we bought him in the January, but before that, he played 5 games up front in this position here. He played 5 games in this position, or in a front 2 or whatever, but usually in a front 3. He played in that game 5 times and scored 3 goals. Happy days. Not too big a data pool though, only 5 games. However, as what transfer market class is a second striker, so just behind the main striker essentially, he played 3 games and scored 2 goals. So all in all, 5 goals in 8 games. Happy days. It's looking good. Sounding good. It gets even better. In that 8 games, he got 4 assists as well to throw on top of that. So Jarrod Bowen as a striker in the Championship was fantastic. But the one thing that sort of irks me a little bit, I think he's almost got too much defensive attributes to do at West Ham. And it works, because off the ball, I think he's been superb. You cannot fault him. On the ball, he's not been great. I think he's made incorrect decisions in the final third and stuff, which is now sort of under the magnifying glass. People are now looking at him and saying, well, let's judge this guy, because we've got Ben Rama and Jesse Lingard now sort of producing more stuff. Then we've got competition for Jarrod Bowen's places. And I think that's come under the microscope. But I do think his defensive work almost hinders him a little bit. So I had a little look at his time at Hull City as a right winger, in a front 3 as a right winger of the front. So this is Jarrod Bowen's heat map when they played Wigan. So they're obviously shooting not that way. Yes, they're shooting to the right of your screen, towards the Who Scored banner. They're shooting in that direction. So you can see where Jarrod Bowen's heat map is. He's all over the place. He's covering a lot of ground against Wigan in that game. Then against Charlton, here he is, and he's now shooting towards me. So again, most of his work is done in the final third of the pitch for Hull City. On that right, cutting in, covering the middle of the park as well. That's his 2 heat maps. So that's the one against Charlton, that's the one against Wigan. In the box, in the area, so on and so forth. But this is Jarrod Bowen for West Ham United against Crystal Palace a couple of weeks ago, where we won. And I thought we were fantastic. And I thought Jarrod Bowen played really well. But here's his heat maps. Again, he's tacking towards me. But you can see where the lightest blue bit is, where he's busiest. It's actually in our own half. He had most impact for West Ham in that game in our own half. Which is okay, because we've won the match. It's fine. I know I'm getting a bit too in-depth here. But then this is against Burnley. Now he's shooting away from me. Look at that massive green bit. That is where most of his touches have come. Again, in our half, he's playing as almost like a wing-back formation here when you look at that heat map. Good to see lots of activity in the opposition box. That's what you want to see. But again, a lot of defensive attributes. And I just think, I wonder if switching to this formation would get the best out of Jarrod Bowen a bit more, even in this position. Michail Antonio's not there. It also allows us to bring in Ben Johnson at left wing back. I think Matt's right. I think Soufal in the back 3 would be good. If we put Soufal in there, Dawson in there, they'd have Balbuena or Diop next to him. We keep Rice and Soucek where they are. And then your front 3, I guess, would look like Ben Rama, Bowen, and probably Jesse Lingard actually. Then you've got Fredericks as a potential at right wing back. You've got Ben Johnson as a potential at right wing back. Because Masuaku's a month away from coming back as well. We know that. But I think Ben Johnson deserves a lot more time on the pitch at the minute. But when we're playing a back 4, where do you put him? Are you going to take Creswell out? Probably not, because I think Creswell's played really well. Are you taking out Soufal? Absolutely not. So Ben Johnson can get in the team. One player whose performances are really, really good recently. Whenever we've seen him, he's played really well over the Christmas period. I thought he was man of match in one of our games. I thought he was man of match against, well, not the man of match against Man United, but I thought he was fantastic when he came on. I thought he got forward really well. I'd like to see more of him. Switching to a back 3 allows that. The problem is, it is a bit square pegs and round holes, which is not something the 4-2-3-1 does. But we might just unlock something in Jarrod Bowen. Of course, when Michail Antonio's fit, we can still play this, and we can still play 4-2-3-1. But my issue is when we do play 4-2-3-1 at the start without Antonio up front, I think the role's built for someone like Antonio, someone that can run the channels, chase the defence about, and I worry that someone else up there is going to struggle a little bit, unless Jesse Lingard plays. But saying that, against Fulham, Lingard did play, and he didn't see enough of him. We've got a big run coming up against Sheffield United. I still want to see the back 4, but after that, we've got that tough run coming up. We've got the likes of the 2 Manchester clubs, Wolves, Leicester, Chelsea. Tough games coming. I wouldn't mind seeing us switch to a back 3 for that, actually, because us against the other 13, we are fantastic, picking up a ridiculous amount of points. But we want to get European football where there's room for improvement, and that's against the Sky Sports top 6. 2 points from 21 out of those games. Not quite good enough. If we can do a little bit better than that in the second half of the season, we might just get European football. Anyway, Matt, I hope that was a sufficient video for you. Apologies to the clumsiness of the edit. Well, it's not even an edit. The adaptation of editing, if you like. Hopefully all that made sense. I feel like I just blabbered out a lot of stats and nonsense at you, but there you go. I did say it was going to be desperate at the start, didn't I? So I put my disclaimer in earlier. Anyway, if you've somehow enjoyed this video, drop a like, comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Myself and Gonz will be back tomorrow, an hour and 5 minutes before kickoff. So 4:55, we will be live on the channel before Sheffield United game. And I have to say, I'm really looking forward to it, actually. I'll see you then.